Let's go for it. Okay, hi everyone, and welcome back to the Digital Nomad World Weekly Lecture. I'm Becca, and I'll be your host today. And today I'm going to be speaking with Rocco, who is a music industry professional and online influencer. So welcome, Rocco.
Thank you, Becca, and thanks everyone. I'm Rocco. I'm originally from Italy. I don't know if you can tell by the accent, but at the moment I'm in Las Palmas in the Canary Islands. To be specific, Gran Canaria is the island I'm in at the moment. And yeah, I've been here since I was here in mid-December for a month until mid-January, and then I went back home in Italy for a little bit, and then came back here around February, and I'm staying here until early April. That's nice. The plan for now, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a good plan. So I'm going to start off by just asking you to tell everyone a little bit about what you do. So for your work, essentially.
Yeah, my main job is basically in the music industry, obviously, and I basically help. I work for a UK company that is a digital distributor, but we also do have like services that we provide to artists. So my day-to-day, in essence, is help artists, managers, small labels and independent. All of them will be, artists and labels will be independent, and I would just help them with issues that they might have, or marketing ideas, or partnerships, or a different range of things, but everything music related. I have my own clients that I have a bit more of a closer relationship with, and so I would know their project a bit more in depth, and I would give them ideas on how to do certain things or use certain features and all that. So that's my main day-to-day work. But then, I also have my own projects, and they're mostly related to content creation. So I have my YouTube channel, TikTok channels. I've got 2 pages on TikTok. One is personal and one is music industry related. And I also have an Instagram account that I curate, and where I share where I am, and all the stories and all the stuff that you would do on Instagram, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess I'm going to ask you what was your first experience of remote work, or how did you transition into remote work?
Yeah, that's interesting, because I didn't decide one day, okay, I'm going to become a digital nomad. It kind of was gradual and not very expected. I was working for the same company I'm working now, pre-pandemic, and because of like a lot of us, because of the pandemic, we had to start working remotely, and we all soon realized that actually we could do this remotely for for how long we wanted to. And specifically, my job, I never realized while I was in the office, I never realized that actually I didn't even need to be in the office at the time. I was just doing it because everyone else was. And but I did have in the back of my mind, I did think, with my boyfriend, we were thinking of leaving London, because we've been there for like 6 years. I was there for 6 years, and the last year, 2 years, we did think, okay, maybe we want to relocate to Italy or maybe move somewhere else, but we never did because of the job situation. We wanted to keep the job that we had, and so yeah, because of the pandemic, I basically had the opportunity to do that. So if there is one good thing about the pandemic, it was that, the fact that I had a chance to move back to Italy for a bit. So it wasn't very, digital nomads. It was just me going back home, basically.
Yeah.
But then I started to experiment it. So I, then booked with my boyfriend and a couple of friends. We then booked a month just to test out this remote thing a bit more
Yeah.
in Tuscany. Well, this was last year during like June last year, and we found out that that worked. So we were like, okay, maybe let's do it again in a different location now outside of Italy. And that's when we came to Las Palmas in the Canary Islands.
And
That's how it's.
yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of people have had a similar experience where their job has gone remote because of the pandemic. Now they've kind of, I guess, naturally gone into this lifestyle where they can work remotely and be location independent. I guess like for the future, you said you're going to stay where you are for a while. Has your is your company allowing you to remain remote? Do you think you'll ever return to the office?
That's an interesting question because my situation is a little bit strange because I've been like the company, well, the office is reopening at the end of this month, and but I did have conversations like a while ago with obviously with the company, and because of the work that I sort of started towards the Italian market, I kind of had a little bit of leverage, and to ask them, to stay where I was basically. So far it's been working fine, and the company did say that they're willing to make this work because at the end of the day, I do like what I do, and they also like the fact that I'm there helping. So it's kind of like a win for the both of us. So far it's been working fine, but who knows for the future? I mean, yeah, but there are a lot of opportunities out there, to be honest. So I'm also very much ready, and because it's been a while, I'm very much ready for whatever happens. I would understand if they take a different decision, or I might take a slightly different decision. Whatever happens, it will happen for a reason, I guess. So I'm very spiritual as a person. I believe in stuff that happen for a reason.
Yeah, and I think things can always change, so it's good to be able to be flexible with the work as well.
Exactly.
So obviously the music industry is your profession. That's kind of, I'm assuming that you studied to go into that.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I guess how did you get into that to start with? Is an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, my background is as a singer. I've been a singer like basically when I was younger, when up to 16 years old, I wanted to be an artist and do that as a career. And then I did a music school in London, and I studied economics at the university, so a completely different thing. And then with the music school in London, once I graduated from there, I actually realized that no, I like the industry, but I don't want to hustle as an artist anymore.
Yeah.
So I just want to help other artists and continue to do this. So there was an opportunity as a receptionist in the company I'm working for. So I did that it was a temp opportunity for like a few months. I did that, and then internally, I basically managed to get into a different role that was more music industry related. And I grew in there. So in 3 years, I went from associate to now senior manager in that position. So I grew within the company. So I made it really, I said it very quickly because I want to bore you with the details, but that's basically how it went.
Okay. And is would you say your goals are to, so I think something kind of interesting for remote work, and a lot of people that I've spoken to, particularly those who are trying to become influencers and set up that kind of side of business, tend to have multiple jobs, or they'll have a job that brings the income and whilst they build their maybe influencer page or things like that. Is that kind of how you see your work going forward, or is the dream to kind of transition into becoming a full-time influencer?
Well, I would like to make the influencing, so the content creation side of things, I would like to make that my my job, my day-to-day job. I think, what, yeah, I do need a creative outlet, and I think, a job can be that. My job certainly can be that because it's in the music industry, so it does give you opportunities to be creative if you want to. But I do struggle with them after the pandemic, after I realized, and I sort of like realigned what I really want. Like, I started to realize that I don't really like the 9 to 5 structure. I don't like,
Yeah.
I want to be my own boss, that sort of stuff. I know I'm not the only one. I know that a lot of us are like that and want to try and achieve that. But so yeah, the idea is to become, to make the influencing career my full-time career, and then slowly, yeah, leaving the company or the corporate job aside. But the music industry part of it, I would like to keep that as part of my influencing career. That's the skills I managed to learn and to put together during that time. During this time, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to let that go, because it is part of who I am and my profession.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting because I think we have a lot of members that are looking to transition into a digital nomad lifestyle, and I think it can be easy to kind of see it online and think of it as something that's you have to make a big jump to transition into. But I think that a lot of people that I've spoken to have multiple things going on, which kind of helps you have a bit more stability whilst you can focus on other projects or build certain areas of your business. And yeah, I think it's.
I don't have like a lot of different things at the moment that I can get like money from. Basically, the only source of income at the moment is my 9 to 5 job, which is fine because I've actually got to a point where I can balance it out with the content creation part. It's difficult because you have to prepare the content during your free time, so you'll have to do it after work. Sometimes I stay in the co-working, even here in Las Palmas, where I could easily go to the beach, but I stay here until 7 p.m. So I spend a couple of hours just working on my content, recording it, and in the schools, since obviously there is this cool space here, like very artsy and all that, I'm trying to use what I have to make it work. And it is, you'll have to give something up, in the situation I'm in. And in this case, it's, your own free time. But because it is something that I really want to try and pursue, like, it doesn't bother me, and it's tiring sometimes. And sometimes also the influence, becoming an influencer, like, it's so generic, but like becoming what I want to become in that area. So creating the content I want to create requires, obviously time, and it's not, it might not go where I see it going, so it is also a bit of a gamble and a bit of an investment. And I do also struggle sometimes with, is this really going anywhere? Should I continue? Should I just quit? So the struggle for me, and the challenge has been, okay, do not give this up, just continue. And at some point, first of all, I enjoy doing it, so why stopping? And also, it might lead somewhere, and also it might help other people, because what I want to do is help other people show that the digital nomad life is possible, that you can have a career in the industry if you are an independent artist and you have no idea about the industry. You just have to learn the right things, and yeah, so all this like bits and pieces.
Yeah, and I think it's fantastic sharing experiences to help others kind of grow. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to get into content creation?
I'm gonna use one of the advices that has actually been given to me, and I kind of mentioned it already. Like, patience. It requires a lot of patience to do anything. It's not just about content creation, but you have to be patient with yourself. Like, I'm someone that tends to rush, and and I gave up so many times. You know, I'm not gonna be here saying that, oh, I'm amazing, I'm an influencer, I've done this and that. No, I'm so far from it. But I am trying to really be patient and build little by little what I want to build. And I'm giving myself a structure. So that's another advice I would give. You know, give yourself a structure when you create content, because keeping all of your brilliant ideas in your head won't get you anywhere. Because if you are like me, that tends to think like 100 miles an hour, you're gonna have ideas every 20 minutes, but also you're gonna forget those and you're not gonna action them. So what I'm actually what I started using, it's a software called, of course I forgot it. What it's called? Notion.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of it, but it's
I
called
have
Notion.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, and it's brilliant because it's like it's a digital notebook, but you can do so many things with it. You can do graphs, you can do tables and to-do lists and whatever you want to do with it, and you can have like micro sections as well. So I basically created that. I divided it into YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Medium, because I also write Medium articles every now and then, and all the ideas that I have, I put them in there, I break them down, I develop them, I write scripts that I need to write for the videos, for example, and I move things around. That makes me feel like things are moving forward, and rather than, you know, keeping all that in my head, and then on good days, I think, because if I keep everything in my head, like I've got days that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm smashing it, this is amazing, I'm doing so well. But then when you have a bad day, it's the exact opposite, and that's when I tend to quit. But now all I need to do is open the laptop, see it all in front of my face, and be like, okay, things are moving forward, even though my head is telling me that I'm not doing anything good, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I think sometimes it helps to have a physical like checklist or something where you can see the stages of something growing.
yeah, exactly. It definitely works for me. So that's one of the tips I would give if you want to create content, because, and also, yeah, when you create content, especially on TikTok, you have to be really fast. You know, there are like trends that you need to jump on, and there are some things that you have to write down, but also action really quickly. Otherwise, you lose your spot in that. You know, you're just, whenever, if you do it too late, it might not be that relevant anymore. But yeah, those are,
Yeah. So you mentioned TikTok. What would you say is actually I guess I have two questions. First one is which social media platforms do you think are most beneficial for someone that wants to start like a content creation career? Which ones should they be focusing on, or does it depend on industry?
I think it doesn't depend on industry, I guess, too much. I don't know. I'm trying to think about it now, but I think that you have to, and this is something I always tell the artists I work with. There is a tendency to think you have to be everywhere. I actually think you just have to be where you think you're, you know, are most suited for. Like if you're clearly awkward on TikTok, but you're good on, you know, posting pictures on Instagram, really high quality, maybe where you don't show your face, and then stick with Instagram. You know, TikTok, try and learn a bit more, try and get to that level, and then you jump on it. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you shouldn't just force yourself on that platform. So if you're just starting, and I think TikTok, I mean, I'm a fan, so maybe I'm a little bit biased because I do like the platform. But if you are not scared of, you know, creating quick videos, and you have a good, you know, and you have like you're naturally good at it, at creating content like that, you should definitely do it, because TikTok is growing really fast, and at the moment there is still a lot of space, you know, for content creators on that platform. The algorithm is pushing video, even if you're pushing the first video out or two videos out, and you're nobody, you know, you don't have a profile yet, nothing, TikTok is pushing quite strongly, and you can go viral really easily, you know, if you've even if you're starting from zero. So, and also the algorithm on TikTok, it feels to me that it's really good at finding your niche. So with the right hashtags, with the right titles and the things you write on the videos, and the algorithm is really good at sending that content to your niche. So it basically finds the niche for you at the moment for free, and it won't stay free for long, in my opinion. I mean, it's not just in my opinion. I can see that changing already. So that's why, you know, I definitely strongly recommend to start from that platform. And obviously, you know, Instagram, Facebook is still really strong, even though a lot of us think that Facebook is dying. But actually, I can't remember the right percentage, but I was reading an article the other day about it. And they did say that Facebook still owns a big chunk of audience that you can use for your business. So I don't actually have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook profile, but I don't have like a content, you know, creation page on Facebook that I use because of what I was saying earlier, because I don't want to force it if it doesn't feel natural to me. You know, I want to focus on other stuff. But, you know, if you are good on Facebook, it's the right place to be, you know, and to, especially to sell stuff. Facebook is really good for selling, you know, physical products, for instance.
Would you say there's like if someone wants to start content creating, like obviously you've kind of explained that they should use platforms that they feel more comfortable using and that their work suits best, but do you think there's it's more beneficial to have multiple social media platforms, and if so, what would you say is like a good number of different platforms to use? Like, how are you going to reach your audience most?
But I do think that you should probably have more than one or two platforms. You know, you should have a range of platforms that you feel that you use and engage with every day. And that's purely because, you know, you would have a different audience in each platform. You know, you would have people that prefer to use Instagram, some other people that don't even have Instagram, but they use Twitter, for instance, or Facebook or TikTok. It really depends. And also you have a different age range on these platforms. You know, TikTok is very Gen Z. We all know that. On YouTube, you would have a bit of everything, really, depending on what the content that you create is. You know, you would obviously then attract. I think the content I create is very millennials, for instance. So that's the niche I have on YouTube. But you have a lot more niches on YouTube. Facebook, you know, you would have like, I don't want to throw numbers there because I'm not 100% sure, but like you would have a bit of an older audience there. And so yeah, you should definitely have a wide range of them. There isn't a set number. I personally have, well, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I have Twitter and my profile on Facebook, but I don't really use those that much. So I have these three. Twitch is a big one as well. So that's one that a lot of people are using. I don't, but I have like friends that do, and you can monetize on that platform really easily, especially in the gaming, if you're a gamer, for example. But yeah, so you do need to have a range. And then the second question was, I forgot the second part of the question.
I think I was just asking how many you had, but
okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think perhaps you might kind of go in with the idea that you've got to have them all. You have to have Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and I think sometimes it can become quite distracting, making sure managing all of them at the same time. So yeah, it's interesting.
It's difficult, you know. That's the most difficult part for a content creator, I think, at least for me it is, because, you know, managing all of those platforms and making sure that you always have like up-to-date content on all of those. It's hard, and that's part of the reason why I thought, okay, it's just me doing this, so I rather focus on 3 platforms, but I know that I can do a really high quality work on those, rather than have like 7 and then I do really, average quality work on them. I don't know. That's how I decided to approach it. But again, it really depends, like, from what you do. If you can have the same piece of content or very similar content to use on all of those platforms, you might want to, you can probably have, 5 or 6 platforms that you use. I know that I can't, because I want to make sure that the content I make is specifically for Instagram, specifically for TikTok. The only thing that I do reuse on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram Reels are the videos, that I create. Like, I normally create those on TikTok. I use obviously a software outside of there to edit them. But then when I upload them on TikTok Shorts and Instagram Reels with the same piece of content, because what I found is that the same content sometimes works really well on Instagram, but it doesn't really work on TikTok and YouTube. And some of the times, it works really well on Shorts and it doesn't work on the other platforms. But I never know. Like, every time I think, okay, this video is going to do amazing on TikTok, then it does really shitty and it goes really well on Shorts. So I'm like, because I don't understand what's going on, I just upload that content on the 3 of them, and then I let them do the work, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting how the same piece of content can be reacted to so differently across the different platforms. But I guess that's kind of where you get different users and different age groups using different ones. And I guess that kind of leads in quite well. We've started getting into questions, and the first one is, what are some of the difficulties influencers face whilst working remotely?
It depends what one thing that I can see right away is I didn't actually experience it because I've stayed in the same time zone more or less, but while traveling. But I think the time zone can be an issue, because if you are in Costa Rica and your audience is in Italy, you would have, I don't know how many hours of difference. So that could be an issue, because then you might need to create content in advance, or maybe put the content out and then wait for the next day for people to engage with it. So the time zone can be a bit of an issue for content creation. On the top of my head, I can't think of a lot others. I would need to think about it a bit more thoroughly. But I do think that actually the fact that you are remote and you're traveling and you have so much stimuli coming from the place that you're living in or the people that you're meeting, for a content creator, it's actually better to be a digital nomad or just do this stuff remotely, because it gives you, if you are going for a walk somewhere, that could be content. If you are meeting someone really interesting that does something specific and you want to interview them, that's content. And if you stay in an office or at home all the time, you won't have this type of stimuli. So I see more benefits than difficulties, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. And I think definitely environment can affect the work a lot. I'm really sorry. I feel like this session has gone so fast. We're coming towards the end. So I just have one last question to ask you, just for a quick, simple answer. What is one piece of advice you would give to other digital nomads?
Okay, just do things. this is something that I read on Mark Manson, one of Mark Manson's books. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I recommend it because there was this sentence that was between the lines of, when you don't know what to do, when you don't know, for instance, for digital nomads, that you don't know where to go, like where am I going to go next, or how do I plan this, or it can get scary. So just do things, or maybe your lack of creativity at some point. Just do something, whatever that thing is. Just do it, and that will lead to newer and more exciting stuff. Yeah,
thank you. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us, and thank you very much for joining me today. If anyone wants to get in contact with Rocco or wants to follow his pages, we're going to be posting the Instagram link and the links in the YouTube video, so you can head there, or you can also head over to the platform as Rocco is on there, so you can have a little chat. So thank you very much for joining me today. Next week I will be speaking with Christine Mauschmann, who is she founded a remote media and production company in the gaming industry. So if you're interested in listening to that, then join me next week at 5 p.m. And thank you again.